early. I doubt many people will be up this early, but I've actually been up since 5. Actually, it was more like 4:45, and I was at the gym by 5. Got that done. Feeling pretty good about my progress lately, just getting back to it. And with the exception of the Bills game, which I did drink and eat some food that wasn't the greatest, my diet has been pretty clean. So hopefully you guys are sticking to your New Year's resolutions. If you made New Year's resolutions, which, you know, I mean, in truth, you could say you should be kind of trying to do something like this all the time, not just when, you know, New Year's rolls around. Because I think there's a lot of us that are going to be like, oh, I'm going to do something completely different. I'm going to change everything in my life. And you wait till New Year's to do it. But you ever notice that there's never a right time to do practically anything? Let's say it's like early October and you're like, I'm gonna go ahead and start dieting. And then you think, well, there's Halloween, I'm gonna go to a Halloween party, and then, well, you know, Thanksgiving and Christmas will be coming, and I'm gonna eat bad on those days anyway, so what's the point of any of it? Well, the point of any of it is you're never gonna get started if you don't take action today. So another thing I'm gonna be filming, I believe I'm gonna start this tomorrow, which I'm a little nervous about this, y'all. I'm going to be filming a little bit of a challenge, but I'm going to do that 72-hour fast. So, you know, pretty much everybody at work did it. There's been a lot of good results from it. And, you know, I'm just curious about it. I'm just curious to see if I would be able to do it. If you guys have done that. If you guys have done that, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. I never usually leave to work this late, y'all, and it's going to be a long ride. So I figured, you know what, man? I jump in here and say what's up to you guys. Where's everybody tapping in from? What are y'all doing today? What's your schedule look like? That type of thing. Checking in with you guys. So far, the change in content that I'm making, it's slow. It's slow to rise because YouTube has no clue what to do with some of this newer golf content. But I'm not ready to give up on it. Not one bit. I'm just going to stay in my lane. Every Thursday, you guys are going to be seeing a piece of, you know, golf content or challenge-related content. In this case, I'm not going to post my challenge right away. I'll let you guys know the results of everything I figure out with fasting for 3 days to just see, you know, what it does, how much weight do I lose. You know, I'm going to keep working out. Everything I'm doing is going to stay the same. I'm just not going to eat food. So we'll see. You know, we'll see how that goes. Way Because says, top of the morning to you, Eddie. A couple of resolutions of mine are to hit the first Barber Expo and actually get some new one-on-one shear lessons. There you go, man. And he's from Delaware. Let's go, man. That's what it is. I think if any of you guys are out there and you feel like you're kind of stuck in a little bit of a rut, probably one of the best things you could do for yourself in this business, at least, is get out to a show. You know, there's always this feeling I have after I leave a show that like I'm like imbibed with this spirit of like I can do it. You know, like other people have inspired me. People who, you know, either cut hair differently or just think differently or just, you know, they're knee deep in this or they've accomplished a lot. You know, all of this stuff kind of rubs off on me. And when I see success, I think to myself like, yeah, I could see. You know, I could see myself getting to that next level. And, you know, I think you guys could see yourself getting to that next level too. So I think if you have a barber expo or, you know, even just a hair show, whatever, if there's something around your area and you have never been to one, I would strongly encourage you get there. And you'll find out that these people are going to want to network with you. Everybody is really going to be open for the most part. I mean, nobody really goes to the expos with a big chip on their shoulder. I'm sure there's a few people who do, but for the most part, everybody I've ever run into has been super friendly, more than willing to talk, more than willing to, you know, kind of try to find ways to, you know, see how we could fit into each other's lives. How could we benefit each other? How could we help each other? That type of thing. So, you know, I definitely would encourage that if you guys are feeling like you're in a rut. Like, personally, I feel like I'm in a rut as well. Like, not all of our struggles look exactly the same. You know, me, I have been doing this for a long time, and after you have kind of cracked the code, so to speak, and there isn't so much mystery behind what it is that you're doing, I have trouble with that. I'm just naturally curious. I don't know if you guys have trouble with this, but like I read or I listen to books all the time, or I'm always like kind of thinking about different stuff, and I'm not really super focused on, you know, barbering only anymore. And it's been a struggle to keep myself, you know, locked in doing this. I have so many tutorials to post actually for the members. When I was making that last video that I released yesterday, if you guys haven't checked it out, I compared the Babyliss LowPROFX One system to the Babyliss to the Gold FX Babyliss. So all their battery removable systems, and then compared it to the old one. You know, in that video, I was looking through my B-roll folder where I have a lot of full form, full haircuts, that type of stuff, right? And I realized, damn, there's a lot of stuff that I could get out to these members. So I'm gonna whack away at that tomorrow to get you guys some content. I actually have another one that's already uploaded right now that I think is gonna help you. I have a new approach to something, and I want to share it with you guys. It's my faded acronym, what it stands for, and, you know, a way that you can use to remind yourself to stay focused on the things that are important during servicing a client. So that's, you know, that's something I think is definitely going to help some people. I actually kind of like that script and how that all came out. So, you know, that one's actually already posted up. I just need my boy Steve-O there, Rusty Blades. I need him to knock me out a little thumbnail for that one, and I'll release it to the members for now, but for the rest of you guys will get it Monday. And we have a lot of member exclusive content coming, and I'm just kind of thinking about how I want to educate going into this year. Like, what do I want to change? What do I want to improve? You know, that type of thing. So that's kind of why I've been like a little hesitant to post on these things. It's very hard for me to look at other content creators and want to do what they do. You know, I've been doing this for longer than most of them have been doing it, for one thing, and for the other thing, just to like kind of regurgitate a lot of content that's already out there. It's becoming increasingly difficult for me to I don't want to be like everybody else. I don't want to do what everybody else does. I have never been that in my life. I've always been a little bit of an outlier. So if you guys feel that way too, you know what I mean, tap in, let me know. It ain't always easy to do all of this stuff. Now, on the other side of things, just on the side of, you know, just success type of things, we've been averaging between 1 and 2 million views per month on the channel, which has been pretty extraordinary. But I'm going to tell you something too. Not all of that matters either. So yes, I can post a bunch of shorts and I can get a lot of views. A lot of channels are doing that, but the views and the viewers, I don't want to say they're worthless, but they're not really worth anything, because they're not rocking with you on the long form content. They're not watching your content for a long period of time, and they're not really moving the needle in any significant way. Like, releasing shorts is something that I'll have to do, and I will do, but it's just, to me, it feels like it's a way to bolster your stats and make it seem like you're doing really good, when in actuality, you're not really reaching, impacting, or helping anybody. So for me, that's, you know, that's something that I think about. Like, when I post content, I'm trying to reach, impact, and help people. So if I just post content that doesn't really do that, it doesn't really feed me in that way, you know. And we're all different, man. We're all different. Everybody has a different reason for why they do things. You know, I try to keep my personal reasons in mind when I do things. And, you know, it's one of the reasons why I want to branch out and why I want to do, you know, more different types of content. Channel number 2 is in all likelihood going to be on the way. I'm thinking probably within 2 months I will launch channel number 2. I just need something to continue to feel creative, to continue to feel inspired. You know, it turns out that the videos that do best for me on this channel are tool reviews, which I like doing. But tool reviews do not feed my soul. They're not the only thing that makes me, you know, happy. So I have to do those things that make me happy. He said, I probably have a good 6-8 videos in the chamber for my IG reels. I'm trying to stay consistent on my content this year. And I think that's a great move. You know, you do have to make sure that you're advertising yourself on Instagram. And it's funny you say that, man, and I'm glad you did, because personally, I've all but ignored my Instagram. And it's stupid. I should be posting more on Instagram, but all of this stuff takes so much out of me to try to, you know, do this and do this. Like, the way I do things now compared to the way I did them before, if you're thinking about launching a YouTube channel and it is, you know, 2024 and maybe this is the year that you're going to do it, there's so many things that you need to know to be able to be successful in this. You know, now everything is writing scripts, having a plan, having a thumbnail, having a title before you even turn the camera on. You know, all of these things kind of need to be addressed. Like, gone are the days where you could just turn a camera on a cut and be like, oh, okay, I'm going to make something out of this. Like, yes, you can, and you can still be successful with that, but your odds of being more impactful, more concise, more well thought out, well-rounded, and just creating videos that are going to be watchable, your chances go way down when you do stuff like that. Sandro, thank you for jumping in here. Said, good morning, Creative Teach. Yes, helping people and be blessed. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. I've been watching a lot of these reaction videos that other, you know, people are doing, and it is kind of funny, man, because there's some barbers out here doing some wild stuff for the views. I mean, one that Kenny just sent me the other day. Well, I couldn't believe what this guy did to this poor girl's hair. I'm not sure what's going on here, but it seems like, you know, people are out here trying to create that shock value for the views. But if you really think about what they're doing, they're reaching an audience that is outside of barbering, and they're getting the attention, you know, from them. But I think to myself, like, okay, this channel was built for barbers, right? I did this channel to help people find a new career and understand that this actually could be a viable way for you guys to earn your living. And I think about, like, you know, I see them broadening their funnel and getting people that watch it, but like, where is the real value in that? Like, this guy's gonna go work at Walmart, he's watching your video of you tearing up somebody's hair that you got for the views, and like, where is the value in it? Is there any value in that type of content? And to me, there's not a whole lot of value in that content. Like, it's funny and it's entertaining, and I guess for that, you know, it's all right. But it's just, you know, it's just tough. It's just tough. So yeah, this faded acronym, like, I'll share a little bit of what the members you guys are in store for. But like, basically it's faded, FADED. And the first part of faded is find out what the client wants, be specific, ask questions, and use pictures. This is going to lead to far less problems or miscommunications down the road. I think that a lot of you guys who have a dissatisfied client, when you do have a dissatisfied client, and everybody on social media wants to pretend like everybody is just so satisfied every time they leave my chair because I am just the greatest that have ever done this. Like, that's not reality. You know, you might be the greatest barber ever, but if you miscommunicate with your client and you misunderstand what it is that they want, how on earth could you provide them with a good service or a good experience and get them to come back? So that's part of what this faded acronym is about. It's about building a deep connection to your client, providing them with a world-class service, and making it so it would practically be impossible for them to deviate from you or go to somebody else. And also giving them reasons to suggest your name to other people, potentially give you a review, help bolster your presence on your Google My Business profile, which is far more effective than just only Instagram posting, which if you don't have your own business profile, that's fine. And if Instagram is going to be where you do it, that's very, you know, that's good. You have to do that. But at the same time, like, you have to think about getting people to find your physical location. What is the best way for you to do that? You know, word of mouth, in my mind, is still the most powerful form of advertisement. How many of you guys cutting hair in your chair have shared something with one of your clients, a positive experience that you've had, and seen your client go and come back and say, you know what, that I went there too. That was a great experience. I went to Outback, got the smoked porterhouse. That's my favorite steak. I told Kenny about it. I said, Kenny, trust me, man, you ain't going to find a better steak than the one you get at Outback. The smoked porterhouse is fire. I went to some of these fancy restaurants here. I don't even want to put none of them on blast because these are small mom and pops places. So I don't want to put them on blast. But we have restaurants in Naples, Florida that are way more expensive than what you actually get in that dish, right? And I went to Outback the following day and they blew that out of the water. I made that suggestion to Kenny, one of my barbers, and he comes back to the shop and he's like, dude, that steak was so good. That was one of the best steaks I ever had. And it's not just limited to that. And I think there's a very powerful thing associated with word of mouth when somebody takes time out of their day to share an experience, whether they ask for it or not, with you. It makes it that much more powerful, and you are that much more curious to want to go and have that same experience. So, you know, that's still one of the best and most powerful forms of advertisement. So if you can turn your clients into people who go out and advertise for you, and that's what the faded acronym hopefully will tell you, you know, to show you how to do. So he said, Wavy Cuss said, can I get your honest opinion on a fading technique? Since you have 6 phases and you've broken it down to a science with a whiteboard in your videos. Yeah, sure, man. Let it go. And I do want to clarify that my 6-phase approach to cutting hair, the reason why it is broken down like that is mainly for communication's sake. It does not mean that you need to perform every one of these steps in order. It does not mean that you will always adhere to the exact same system, because one of the things that makes hair such a challenge is the fact that every single time you do it, it's going to be different. It would be nice if every canvas was exactly the same. It would really be nice if that was the case, but that is not the case. Every canvas that walks through your door is going to present its own unique set of challenges. And through time and with experience, you will understand how certain things will make your life easier. A for instance would be, client walks in and their hair is kind of thin or low density. One thing that I know for a fact with clients that have low density and thin hair is if I put a really harsh guideline in, at the skin level, it will be very easy to remove that guideline. I would not concern myself one bit with getting that guideline out because I have all my machines set up properly to do that. It's going to be easy. The challenge it will present, however, is making the connection to the top in the parietal ridge, which experience has taught me that I would not want to debulk with a number 2 all the way up here for some clients because they'll look bald there. So in that case, my debulking process might look different. I might use a 4 or even a 5, whatever it takes to keep the contrast in my blend. And these are things that you can only really learn through time and through experience. And on the other side of that, if you have a client walks in with like thick hair, let's say like that you know, really coarse, thick hair, a lot of density. The challenge that's going to present to you is actually, the funny thing about that is it's actually going to be difficult to remove a harsh skin line. So in that case, it might be worth it for you to take an extra step and possibly put the guideline in a little less harsh. So these are the things that hopefully you will learn. And he said the cuts by Reggie fading technique, I tried it 2 weeks ago and low key loved it. That's good, man. That's good. That's the thing, man. There's a lot of ways to skin this cat. And I think at the end of the day, if you understand, the most important thing is how you have your tools set up. Because if you don't have your tools set up correctly, you are going to struggle. There's no question about that. I don't think that's up for debate. No, I'm not going to be able to just pick up a pair of clippers off the shelf, not set them, and just do everything with them. I am a good enough barber to pull off a nice haircut with any clipper. That is true. But when I think about how a beginner would use a clipper that was set up inadequately, they are going to struggle because I've seen it. They're like, why am I doing exactly what you're doing, but it's not working? That's really step number one. If you don't have that, you're going to struggle. And then the second thing is understanding how your lever and how your guards all function together. And when you understand that, you know when I'm struggling to get a line out that either there's the step above or there's the step below. And it's one of them is going to be the answer. And in time and with experience, sometimes you're going to think that in the beginning of this, you're going to think that I see this little problem in my blend right here and I'm just not able to get it out. And you're working on that same area. And the truth is, it's actually the area above it. It's actually the area above it that is the problem, not the area below it like you think. So, you know, in time, you'll be able to kind of figure all this stuff out. My system is hopefully going to provide you with a really good understanding of how to self-diagnose, how to fix these problems for yourself. Because, like, one of the things that I think a lot of people like to see, a lot of people like to look at me and be like, hey man, you know, what you did really helped me. I'm happy I was able to get that haircut done, and you know, I couldn't have done it because of you. Like, that's all well and good. I appreciate the compliment, but that's not really what I want to hear. I want to hear that I am able to do this now because you provided me with all the information I needed when I struggled on every type of canvas. Every client that walked in the door, I was able to figure it out because I had your system and I had that knowledge to figure it out, and now I can self-diagnose. One of the things I do in my in-person training when I talk with people, one of the first things I do is I set up a fade diagram for them. I do that in the beginning of the class for this reason. I know towards the end of the class, or when they start working on the mannequins, which all my classes, it's a must for me that they're hands-on. They need to be hands-on. That's a must for me. I know that towards the end of this haircut, or towards the end of this class, when they start working on their mannequins, they're going to start to struggle. And instead of stepping in and helping them, we could actually use this in a second. Instead of stepping in and helping them and doing it for them, that's not going to help them because I'm not going to be there for them. I'm not going to be there for them always, right? So my hope is that I can be there. My hope is that I wouldn't have to be there. I don't have to be there for you to fix your stuff after you've gone to a class of mine. That's what I want to have happen for you. If that can happen, then you're able to actually take care of yourself. And you're now self-sufficient, and you can actually do all these haircuts and make a good living. And you know, that's one side of it. Then the other side of it is you don't have to be the greatest barber that ever lived to make a good living here. You have to make a good connection to your clients and make them feel good. When you make them feel good and you make them feel like they can trust you and they can rely on you, and you're going to provide a superior service to anybody else because you're looking out for them and you're building that connection to them. Now you're going to actually make money in this business. You're actually going to be successful, and you're going to get a whole lot of clients lining up to come to you. So it's partially being consistent. You have to be consistent with what it is you're doing. You know, there's a bunch of different ways to get this done. If you guys want, I'll show you something real quick. Boom. All right, so here we have just a little diagram here, and this, hang on, I'm sorry, y'all, it's a little shaky. I don't have my cell phone stand set up, but here's your trimmer line. We put our line in with our trimmer. If I put my line in with my trimmer, let's just pretend that this boost is a trimmer. If I put my line in with my trimmer and I have it tipped out slightly, and I come down, that line is actually not going to be super harsh, right? If I put the line in with the trimmer up and I'm holding it flat, that's going to be as close as that trimmer is going to cut, unless I was to rake, where I would angle this down and push up into it, which that is never a good strategy. That's going to leave your client with problems. So first thing I want to determine is, how do I want to put this line in? Most of the time, it's tipping my trimmer out and putting a nice accurate line in. Underneath, I'll flip it upside down and I'll come up and I'll stop just short. I'll stop just short of that line. Now, this is the line that you're probably going to struggle with the most if your stuff isn't set up correctly. And then we're going to put in an open taper guideline. So just opening the blade up, coming up to the top of this line. Now I've created space between here and here. It's been on the board for a while. You can tell this does not want to wipe off. So it doesn't matter though. So anyhow, now I have an open taper guideline. I have two guidelines. I can clearly see them. I can clearly define them. Most of you guys are probably not making a wide enough gap here. So, you know, in reality, the gap is only actually about the width of a finger, maybe about a finger and a half, maybe about an inch. So when you look at that, you're like, okay, if I make this gap, like, let's say I make that open taper guideline, but I only make it like, you know, this big. I have to do all these steps in that little amount of space. Do you think that's really going to work? No. So it's going to give you problems. So if you set a wide enough guideline, you're going to be in business here. So anyhow, now we have to figure out how it is that we're going to attack this particular line to get this out. There's quite a few different ways. One, I can close this all the way. I can start at the bottom, and the moment I begin blending, I'm going to keep my clipper on an angle here or here. And then the other thing you can do is tipping it out. We've covered a lot of this in the clipper manipulation. The clipper manipulation videos, where I talked about exactly what it is that we're doing when I'm blending, not when I'm putting in guidelines. When I'm putting in guidelines, I'm going to try to keep this pretty flat, coming up straight, right? When I'm taking guidelines out, I want to have this tipped, and I want to use the corners. This is going to create far less issues. So if we wanted to start at the bottom with it fully closed, we can use our corners, knock out that line, and then bam, click it open, just one click. It's nice when you have clicks on the clipper. One click open, boom, one click open, and you can come from the bottom and you can come up until you have it all the way in the open taper. And as long as you're not operating above your guideline, you're going to be able to be fine. Now, on the other hand, you can also do this coming down. And, you know, as the years have gone on, me working down is typically more of a cleanup phase in this area. I like to work down. Let's say I'm like looking at a blend that's not perfect and I want to fix it. I don't really want to jump in there with it fully closed or start from the bottom again. Like now I probably do want to start from the top. And I'll do the exact same thing. I'll retrace my steps. I got it completely open. At the very top of that line, I might even tip it on a corner. Now I'm going to close it one click, a little bit, close it one click, a little bit lower, until I'm all the way back down to close. And that's just your lever play. Now, the guards you select and the things that you do after that are all going to have an effect on exactly what it is you're doing. So, the end of the day, it's going to be the client and the canvas that sort of dictates what it is that you're going to be doing. And I also think that if you're a beginner, being that I just have this Rogue sitting here, this is a really hard clipper to beat when it comes to blending. The magnetic motors, they don't have a lot of torque. So when you, I have a Westech blade, Millennial. When you get to blending and fading and going into areas that have a little bit of bulk, a magnetic motor has lower torque, right? So it's gonna start to kind of slow down a little bit. And you'd be surprised that when I flick into these upper sections with the magnetic motor, it's not gonna always be cutting, which is exactly what I want it to do. I want it to very carefully cut that area. I don't want to make a big change, especially when I'm trying to detail or when I'm getting close to the end of my haircut. I don't want to have big changes happening at that point. And a magnetic motor, it's really hard to beat when it comes to fading. In fact, the only other motor I could say that I really like having for blending at that point in the haircut, I like having something that either runs a little bit slower or has maybe like a digital brushless motor, that's the one I've been using the most. It's on my Cyborg clipper. A taper blade at that point be a really good move. There's so many little things that you can do equipment wise that you're gonna be fine. Like this has a fade blade on it, right? So there's a chance with a fade blade that I might wind up disturbing a section other than the one I'm trying to fix. So in that case, you know, I got to be a little bit more careful if I'm going to use a fade blade, especially if I'm going to pair a fade blade with a clipper that has a lot of power, because then it's gonna wind up, you know, possibly cutting a section entirely when I'm just trying to kind of texturize it. I'm just trying to kind of remove a little bit of the bulk within it. So there's definitely a lot to be said about equipment, about like what you can do to make life easier, and then, you know, the electric shaver and that type of stuff. It's you know, it's definitely a lot of things that you can do to make your life easier. So Fatal says, isn't the vector motor very similar to the magnetic motor? In a way, it actually is. It actually looks a lot like a magnetic motor. They're linear motors. They don't rotate. And the vector motors, which he's talking about on the Instinct clipper, which is right here, that one will speed up when it hits heavy bulk. But in the sense of blending, it actually will blend really good because it'll run at a lower RPM. And it's a really predictable type of thing to cut hair with. I still think no matter what you look at on this thing, I've used every single clipper in the whole industry, and I still think that this digital brushless motor that was in the Saber, which I'm no longer using anymore because there's so many things that have come out now that I enjoy using, but the motor that is in this Saber and the speed of which I work at, it just meshes so well. And the digital brushless motor, it isn't as crazy powerful as like the Instinct and things like that. It's just really forgiving for me to cut hair with. So it's something that I've come to really enjoy working with for the most part. So, you know, I'm kind of like a little bit biased towards these motors, but that's also like there's also a there's an inbuilt speed that all of us kind of have. Like when you're moving, you'll notice that if you just look in other barbershops, you'll see some people, they move really quick, right? And other people, they might move really slow, and they might be trying to kind of flick and things like that. And, you know, depending on the type of speed that you work at, what your normal movements are, I wouldn't try to interrupt who you normally are, how you normally move, the speed that you normally have. I wouldn't try to change that so much. What I would do is try to find something that works really well at the speed that you have. The Cyborg is the main one that I use. In fact, if I go over to my station where I'm actually going to cut today, you'll see the machines that I've been running with for the most part are right here. The Cyborg motor paired with a taper blade, and this thing, just for the speed I work and the way I do things, it's fantastic. I have a Rebel trimmer. This thing cuts razor sharp with I have an X Pro blade on here, and this one here is my really powerful strong liner. This is my forgiving one that I do most of the blend with. This one here will remove bulk like crazy good for some reason, which technically it should be the same as the Saber, but it's not, because even though they share the same motor, there's something about this particular unit. It never, ever, ever struggles removing even the thickest of bulk. So I pretty much use that to get myself down to skin. And then I have two really sharp liners. Like this is a really sharp liner, perfect for designs. And then the other thing I have for like when I'm dealing with the harsher skin lines, or when I'm in a certain point that, you know, the taper blade is just not going to be the tool, I want to have something that I have set pretty close, and I have this. So then these new tight guards, I think they're pretty awesome. They work really good, and they'll get you down there, and they'll make that part of the fade just a breeze. Then check this out, y'all. This is one of my camera mounts. I actually really love this thing. I've been using an Osmo 3 on top of this, and it just makes filming. I could clamp this on pretty much anything, and if I had both of my hands, I could show you, you know, how to use it. But yeah, it just makes life super easy, And, you know, at the end of the day, if you can make getting your content easier, if all you got to do is kind of have something set up, because we don't really know what's going to come in on every day. I'm not staring at my schedule at night and having like a great plan as far as like what I'm going to film, but I do have video ideas that I'm working on. So when those ideas, you know, come into the shop, boom, I'm ready and I'm filming. Hold up, I want to plug in my Instinct trimmer because I only cut hair a couple days a week. Most of this stuff I can pretty much leave off of a charger, and that's kind of how it sits. Now, if I go over to like Kenny, this other barber station, he works with 2 Instincts. Honestly, this guy is one of the nicest at cutting hair that you're gonna find out there. And you know, this is how he gets it done. It's just real simple. He's got 2 clippers. One of them set a little bit closer. One of them has a fade blade. The other one has a vapor blade. And you know, each of these have 3 hours of runtime. So he's got 6 hours of right there, and then he's got 4 hours of runtime on this Instinct trimmer, and you know, he's knocking it out. If I go to Sonny's station, he's running with 2 Instincts. One of them has a taper blade on it, which he stole from me, and the other one has a vapor blade on it, which he also stole from me. And he has an Instinct and a Saber. So you know, that's the thing is, if you notice, there's always going to be, on any successful barber station, there's always going to be 2 clippers, 2 trimmers minimum, and probably at least an electric shaver, obviously. But if they have been paying attention, more than likely they're probably going to have a single foil electric shaver. The new Flex shaver, I don't know a whole lot about. I don't have one yet. In fact, that was even a surprise to me. When Stylecraft released that, they were like, we kept this top secret. They kept it secret from everybody, including me, which normally I'm involved on a lot of things going on, but that one was even a surprise to me. So I don't really have a whole lot of info on that. I expect mine will probably be here any day now. So once it does get here, we'll figure it out and we'll go from there. But all right, you guys, I got a client coming in a few minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this day started, get the stuff on the road. Be on the lookout for some different content on Thursdays. That's when we're gonna start posting some of that golf content, some of the fun stuff. Chances to win tools are out there in the ether, and I actually got to do the drawing for the previous challenge. If you guys watched the first golf video, many of you went and commented on that post that I talked about on Booked In. If you haven't checked that out and you want a chance to win that Rogue clipper, the one that I just showed you a few minutes ago, you guys can feel free to do that. It's still open, and I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do that as soon as probably tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to go live and I'm going to do a drawing and I'm going to do that giveaway. So with that being said, man, I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me. This is the YBA. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, a blessed new year, and you guys keep on grinding and keep your head up and keep finding ways to, you know, be creative and do things that, just do things that feed you. Do things that feed you. All right, y'all. I'm out. Peace. Nico, man, shout out to being a member. I appreciate you, man. And all you guys know that there's a member tab down below. If you guys are interested in the membership, you'll get early access to content, and you'll have exclusive access to other types of content. And soon, I think I'm going to be doing some membership giveaways, membership-only giveaways. So I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.